Hello, denizens of the internet, and welcome back to $5 Friday, the show where each week we put $5 in our pocket, go out, find the best deals that we can, pit the games against each other, and pick a weekly winner. At the end of the year, we'll pick a best gaming for the dollar winner. Up this week, Outland by House Marquee Gaming, and Raisinroth by Inidvare, I guess. Outland was originally put out in 2011 on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, but it didn't hit Windows until 2014. This game is regularly $10. I got it 90% off on Steam for 99 cents. Comes out on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Raisinroth was published in August of 2015. It's Windows only, regularly $4.99. I also got it for 90 cents off for 49 cents. It's hard to argue with that, folks. Can this game provide more entertainment than a pack of gum? Let's find out. Up first, Outland. Now, from what I understand, this game is an action platformer with a switching mechanic. You're switching between alignments of colors, between red and blue, I believe. Let's go ahead and get started. Never played this game before.
If you listen, I will tell you of a man lost in his world, haunted by dreams of legend. Medicine could not help him. Visions drove him on. A shaman he sought, a teacher and a mystic. The Pal Kaba, who could make sense of these visions, who would heal him. He found the seer, collapsed at his fireside, and listened as he was told the ancient truth. Stories of a great wheel endlessly turning. Of two sisters who helped make the world, and then sought to shatter it. Imprisoned by a hero, a soul waiting through the ages, eager to be reborn. His time has come again, but so has theirs, and the earth trembles in fear.
Okay, I have to wonder in these circumstances, how does the old guy know this? How come he knows what happened at the beginning of the world? Alright, so as you can see, we're in a momentum-based platformer. Oh, we've got some grab moves. There's some tutorial stuff. We don't have any sort of attacks yet. We can pull ourselves up. Alright. Well, let's just, let's jump over the spikes. And, we can do wall jumps. It's a momentum-based platformer. All this stuff is expected. Alright, now we gotta figure out how to get that. Can we double jump? No. But we can wall jump. But probably shouldn't do that. Alright, we've got secrets. Now, I don't know if we can regenerate health in any way. Okay, I have to admit, I like the art style. It's very high contrast. This is an effect I've seen done in games before, although I'm struggling to think at the moment of what those are, but it's a very high contrast art style, and that works. It allows you to see the action very, very clearly, and you don't always need high detail. Alright, should we go up here? Oh, yeah, here we go. Secrets. Okay, so I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to run around, learn basic platforming, while we wait to learn how to get colors. And we've unlocked the door. Okay, so we have some switch mechanics. We've got some light puzzle mechanics so far. Nothing that's terribly unique. Still, it's well implemented, I'll give it that. Okay, don't get hit by that. Oh, I did. Looks like we've got some more switches. Now, what's interesting is I don't know what's interactable here. Like, that might be interactable, but I can't tell. Can I get through that? No. Looks like we'll be getting an attack soon, though. That'll let me break through that. Jump over here. Go here. Ooh, what is this? Don't do it, man. We can now attack enemies. Also from ladders. Uppercut them and crouch attack. Alright. Wow, that's a big sword. Not sure where he's carrying that. Take that, foul creature. What's interesting to note is monsters seem to be able to spawn in areas where we've already been. Although if you look over there, there's an eye. Now, I don't know why monsters are suddenly spawning, but... don't know. Ooh. Okay, we still don't have the colors, but yellow appears to be the color of physical, perhaps? We've got melee swings, so, ooh. Now, what has not been seen is whether enemies respawn or not, so I don't know if we're going to be able to... if this is just score or some type of currency, and whether you can farm them because they respawn, or whether you're just going to be running around just trying to get the best score that you can. What is interesting to notice is if it is score, then it is not time-based, so you can take as long as you like here. What happens if we go up? Oh, we can't go through that yet. Alright, looks like we might have to be the right color to go through that platform. So this looks like we might have some Metroidvania style elements here, where you can only progress if you have a certain ability. We'll see how much backtracking there is here. Looks like the uppercut has a significantly long stun associated with it as well. Alright. So far, I'm liking this. Ugh. Okay, looks like those are proximity based, so they're gonna jiggle if we get close. Jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. And then we're clear. Foul creature! Oh, switch. Okay. Ah, we have another altar. Empower me! Alright. 42 collectibles, we've got 3. Moving up in the world. I like this movement system. It's fast. You have control over it. The only thing I don't like is if there's a lip here, you can't do a wall jump. It will only let you pick yourself up. Okay, alright, now we've got a very different glowy thing. Is that an enemy? Is that something we want? Launchpad. Now if this game starts using some McQuacks, I know to be suspicious. Well, this isn't setting up for anything ominous. Okay, this is a really big area. "30,000 years ago.
Fall back through time. Become the ancient hero. Let his spirits, dark and light, arm you in this final battle."
Ah, we have some color switching mechanics. Looks like we have a boss fight, perhaps? What can we learn from this? Spirit of light or water? Air? Looks like this is possibly an apocalypse of some sorts. So we can choose who we exploit. Ugh. Oh, interesting. So perhaps I can jump through the platform and then change colors. Very nifty. I like how that looks like a chain. That's very, very neat. I like the chain effect there. Chaining the world to their will. Spirit powers. Channeling the light or dark spirit also allows you to wound enemies aligned with the opposing spirit. Aha! Ooh, okay. Oh, we have to go to the opposite spirit. Okay, yeah, I probably should have read that a little bit closer. We can ignore things of the same color. We have to be the opposite color to damage them. This is going to take some getting used to, guys. This is actually surprisingly a cerebral challenge. That was non-trivial to do. I am interested to see where they take this. Obviously, we've got some basic environmental hazards and some basic enemies, but it's going to be interesting if they have enemies that switch colors, or can I ignore his attacks if I'm like this? Yes. Interesting. So I want to come in here and do that. Oh. This is a surprisingly cerebral game, you know? For an action platformer, this game makes you think. It makes you think about precisely what you're doing, and you also realize when you've done something wrong, why you failed at some particular task. You know, there I was flailing at that guy, and I didn't do any damage to him. But it makes it obvious. You know why you're failing. It allows you, it gives you that opportunity to visibly see what you've done wrong, why you aren't succeeding. Let's drop down here, get the health. Now can I come over here? Yes. Alright. Skip that. Come up here. Okay, this way now. Okay. The sisters. Chains. World is floating? Oh. Oh, okay. Didn't even see that. I thought it was part of the background. Interesting. Can't help but notice this is a long, long way up. Now the question is... These definitely seem to be real objects, but I don't know that I can get through them. Let's test that theory right here real quick. I can't get off the ladder. Okay. Looks like possibly a boss battle is coming up. I don't see any other reason to have this sort of structure here. Ah, now we're back in our time frame. Interesting.
The hero's journey ended. Ancient spirits release their grasp, and you awake, just a man. Surely it was a dream.
Okay, so we can see where we need to go. Locked doors. How to progress around. Very interesting. We don't have dark spirits yet. And despite the fact we were just playing the game with that, we haven't re-unlocked it. I also can't help but notice that our health is lower. Okay, so this looks like definite Metroidvania here. We're now re-entering a world in a different spot. You can now see we're down there, and it's telling us where we need to go. So I need to go over this. Up and over. First I've got to deal with these guys. Some shenanigans. Eat that. Okay, unfortunately we're out of time for this one, but we got to see some of the later content. We got to see the color switching mechanics. We got to see some combat. We got to see some of the Metroidvania aspects. I think we've seen some of the basics that this game has to offer, and we've gotten to see that it's not just a simple platformer like I expected. This actually is a pretty cerebral exercise. I imagine it's something that you get pretty used to, but it's, on its surface, deeper than I thought it was. Good job, guys. I hope to take a look at it again in the future. Alright, so next up we have Raisinroth by Initvare, which is a Polish developer. I think it's three brothers, according to their website. And this is their second game on Steam. It came out in August of 2015, and I got it 90% off for 50 cents, I think, 49 cents. So, fantastic value there if this game plays well. Now, they are still updating the game. In fact, actually, it was updated, I believe, even today, as of this recording. As well as a couple days ago, they added in 4 new bosses, I think. And I purposely didn't read the patch notes because I didn't want to find out anything about the game before I had an opportunity to play it, because this very much is a first impression series. And I didn't want to spoil that or dig in too deep to what the gameplay was ahead of time. But this is billed as an action roguelike with some RPG mechanics. Now, we've heard that before, but I do believe you level up and can spend skill points and that sort of thing, as well as collect items. And so I don't know very much about the game. It has positive reviews on Steam, so let's take a look.
Lately, each night has been an unsuccessful struggle with nightmares for me. Since my grandfather Joseph Carter went missing, I have been losing sleep. When going through his old notes, I hit upon a strange name, Valley of Whispers. I know the neighborhood very well, but I'd never heard about that place. I had a hunch that lead was worth following. I browsed through centuries-old maps in the local library, and there it was. I found the Valley of Whispers I was searching for. Having no other alternatives, I decided to go there immediately. During a several-hour journey, I was trying to tie together pieces of obtained information. As soon as the train stopped, I went on my search, since I had some time before dark. Wandering around dark woods for several hours, I finally came across an old wooden hut. I was hoping that, if Grandpa was actually in the Valley of Whispers, I might find him there. I went inside, cautiously. Unfortunately, the hut turned out to be empty. But I noticed a piece of paper on a desk. I approached the desk and lit a candle to see what it said. There was a very short but still telling message. Run, Charles. Suddenly, the fierce wind started to blow outside. I ran up to the door, but I couldn't open it. The woods visible through the window assumed weird coloring, and I could hear sinister cries from afar. I felt a powerful energy going through my body, but I couldn't even move my hand. I don't remember what happened next, since I just passed out soon after that.
Okay, so it looks like we can pick different people. We have locked characters here. Looks like some interesting different characters. Now, I don't know how they play differently or whether it's just visual, but looks like we're sticking with Charles today. And we can pick different difficulties. Normal, obviously, because I've never played this before. Okay, so the first recording of this didn't take, and I have actually now played a little bit. I have 12 of these Dark Crystals. Didn't realize it didn't take, so we're going to have to do this again, but I've learned a little bit about the game while I was playing, so I can show that off at least. Over here is a store where you can spend these Dark Crystals that you accumulate. Looks like they persist from one game to another, and you can build these. I think these probably permanently upgrade the house, it looks like. So, so it looks like as you play the game, you can choose what you invest in to give you that permanence between runs. Now, things like this just sound ridiculously powerful. Give you a random buff every 90 seconds, or just generate a magic item per game. And over here, you can exchange money for dark crystals. So I guess that allows you, if there's nothing you want to buy, you can add some dark crystals if you don't want to spend your money, because I don't think money persists. Now, as you run around here, I'm using the keyboard because I actually found the ability of the mouse to be able to lead your target to be beneficial. So, there'll be these monsters. I'm not sure what they are. I'm guessing they're treants. That guy is, I've never seen him before, so... looks like this is kind of like a champion monster. You don't want to get hit, which I just did. I missed. Yeah, okay, so this guy, in my experience, champion guys... Oh gosh. Drop magic items. So we're doing fantastically, let me tell you. We'll pick up some pickups. We got some blazing boots. Chance for critical attack, damage reduction, and primary spells range. Range in this game is a big deal. If you notice our main attack, it doesn't go that far. It doesn't go to our cursor. It keeps going as far as it can. And it definitely doesn't go as far as I might like. And yet, at the same time, enemies can shoot you from off-screen, which is really annoying. Our main attack is pretty strong. Our first goal is to just try to get as many of those items as we can early on. One thing that annoys me about this game a fair amount is, at least in these forest levels, you can't necessarily tell what you can shoot through and what you can't. Like, for instance, there's a tree trunk there, but I didn't know where it was, so I don't know when an enemy will be able to shoot me and when I will be able to shoot them. Got him. So we have a map, and we can see where there might be loot. It does a good job of showing you secrets, if you will, things you might have missed. So if we... I don't think we've actually stepped into the room, so... well, it doesn't show the traps, but it does a good job of showing any loot that's on the ground, which does persist. And shows you any shrines or something that you haven't been to, shows you where any chests are. Let's go ahead and wipe these guys out. So as you can see, the main that takes you to the boss. At the every level there's a boss, and go through that portal when you want to end to the current level. But there's no reason to go there now. You're definitely encouraged to go ahead and explore all of the... yeah, see, their ranges, they can shoot you from almost off screen. You're definitely encouraged to empty each level, because you level up. And I haven't shown you that screen yet, but I can. Which, very nicely, it does pause the game when you do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to level up and we're going to get points that we can spend in these attributes. And it's our choice what we spend it on. And then every level you also get a talent point, which means every 3 levels you can take one of these skills. Some of these, I think, are vastly more powerful than others. For some of these, just seem... Like, for instance, yeah, damage increases when you hit a monster from long distance, above 5 meters, but if you look at this, our range is 6. So I'm guessing there's this very small radius, 1/6 of our total distance will get slightly boosted damage. I mean, that may be good if you get some good items that increase your range, but my last playthrough, I didn't. So here's a mana shield. This one just seems like it's just so much better. It spends mana instead of life when you take damage, and you get mana back when you hit somebody. I haven't shown that off, but you'll notice it. I'll try to go ahead and spend some mana on the next guy, and then you'll see me get that mana back when I actually do damage. Alright, see, there's one of those things I was telling you about. There's a piece of food there. So, since you get mana back, what's that? Oh, nice. I just took some damage there. And, well, we've got some food near the boss spawner, so if we start running low, we'll go over there. Up here is... green. Oh yeah, that's one of those shrines. Alright, so if we go up here and we walk up to it, we get some benefit. I think you can only have one of these active at one time. It seems to last forever, as far as I can tell, which this looks absolutely fantastic, plus 50% damage. And as far as I can tell, until you walk up to another shrine, you will keep that boost. Ooh. No, just money. Every once in a while, you'll find a merchant where you can spend money. I only found one in my previous playthrough, and I made it through... Ooh. Laser gun? Okay, my opinions of this game just totally changed. Long range, mana gain on hit, damage, speed... I guess it shoots pretty slow? No. Wow. Okay. My opinion just totally changed. One of my primary complaints about the game was that I thought that you were stuck with the same primary attack and secondary attack regardless. I thought it was character bound. So, you know, maybe if I had taken Grandpa, I'd have a different attack. But as Charles, I was always going to have the same attack and never be able to change that. And that was a huge complaint I had on the game. I just felt that weakened the game so much because it didn't seem like you'd be able to tailor your build that much from round to round. Yeah, you were going to get different items, but the items were... It seemed like they weren't as unique. You know, just give a little bit of mana, give a little bit of health. But with this laser gun, this totally changes everything. Now we got a different attack, we play differently. I'm going to be building this character differently than I would if I didn't have that weapon. I'm really happy about that. I did not expect that. Alright, now, I believe there are a lot of different bosses in the game, so we'll see which one we get here. Alright, we've got the Evil Tree. This is the same one I had the last playthrough. I'm going to be looking forward to my laser gun here, because it's going to let me engage these guys at range. So what this boss is going to do is it's going to spawn some, these buildings right here, which we just shoot a little bit. There's no... You'll see the health bar of the Evil Tree reducing. Eventually this will break, and it'll spawn an enemy. Every one we kill will increase the number of enemies that spawn from that. So pretty much we just ignore the tree, we just go after these. Which, since we can do it from range, means I can pick those guys off from pretty far. These, I don't know what they do. I thought they were teleporters, but I don't think they are. Oh yeah, and he starts summoning some damaging areas, some thorns. So we'll it's just a focus on avoidance at the moment. This boss isn't too hard. I don't know, maybe the first boss in the game is always the same, but... Focus on killing these guys out. We can't hurt him directly, so we've got to kill these. Got our mana back, so as soon as this dies, I'm gonna blast a whole bunch of shots in there. Alright, he's gonna continue to attack us. Spawn these thorn areas around, which are gonna continue to be a thorn in my side. Alright, but this is the last one, so he's gonna die after this one, I think. Yep. Now, here's one problem with the game. That is an exit portal, but since he was stationary, I had trouble picking up these items before. Ring of Health. Plus 20 health. Alright, so I think that's it. Let's go ahead and go to the next land. 11 minutes. Okay, so now we're at the same house. We still have the same options. We can still go here and do the same things, but now we're in a totally different region with different enemies, with, although you'll know some of the enemies are the same. But now, this land is one I like a lot better because it's a lot easier to tell what's going to block your shots. And, oh gosh, what is that? I need some health. Alright, let me get this little safe area I can shoot from. Level up. Alright. I need health. That's what I need. Let's increase speed. That'll make it easier to dodge attacks. We only need one more level before we can start getting some of those defensive skills. So, as long as I can stay alive till then, we should be good. And I want to stay alive because I've got this laser gun now. Which it has a lot longer range. It has a range of 8. So it's got, what, 30% longer range than... That crystal might explode. No. So, art style. This game, that's one of my complaints, is the enemies don't seem all that unique. It seems like each region I'm in, I'm killing these kind of tree creatures. There's a few of these golems, but the enemies, there's no indication, relatively no indication, I won't say no indication, of what they might do to you, so you just kind of have to learn through mistakes. But they all seem to be various forms of trees, and that makes sense. I mean, we're in an evil forest, but I'd like to see some more enemy variety. the champion monsters and the bosses seem to be well varied, but these enemies, you can see, they most of them are pretty similar. They just kind of stop, they shoot at you. You dodge around their shots, you shoot them. Small potion of health, let's go ahead and drink that. Pick back up the mana potion. So I'm just kind of generally strafing. That's mana if I needed it. Oh! I can't go back to that old shrine. I think that's the defense shrine, which might be a good idea, but at the same time, best defense is a good offense, so let's shoot that from far. These little things you'll see me shoot on the ground, they can drop loot, so occasionally you want to just kind of blow them up. Sometimes they'll drop crystals, sometimes they'll drop money, and even sometimes I've had items drop from them, so I actually got an achievement in my last run through that was something like a scallywag or something like that, because I kept destroying the little inconsequentials on the ground, these little structures and the crates and the... oh hey, there we go, now we're full health. So this is, at the moment, that's our main focus, is just avoid these guys, get some money. We might find some merchants soon. As far as I know, all of that information is randomly generated, so I don't know if we will or not. Okay. Now, one of these times I had a mimic here. This one's not. That one's safe. Boom. Okay, let's see what we want to get. Speed is fantastic. I love being fast in this game. Let's go ahead and get this skill here. This is what I took before. Allows us to spend mana instead of hit points. Sounds like a win to me. Let's check our map. Alright. Just gonna go ahead and destroy all these crates. Might get something good. Alright, so let's talk about the game in general. I've talked a little bit about how the gameplay works, and I think you can see that what?
Hello, stranger. I'm looking for a certain species of extremely rare flowers. I heard they...
Oh gosh, we're under attack. Hide behind the NPC! Hey, it works. Although, that would lead me to not trust the NPC if hiding behind him is a valid strategy. Alright, so it added some flowers. I can't help but notice there's something on the map over here. Yep, here they are. So, the random quests that can be generated from the game are a little bit, that's the same quest I had the last time, and it's a little bit weak. Holy hammer. Okay, we got a new spell. Okay, I was totally wrong. I just must not have played long enough to get different weapons than my previous run through. Okay, so a little bit about how the game plays and what I think of the game. Now, it's perfectly fine with mouse and keyboard. In fact, I think it's actually a little bit better because I can lead my targets. If that's especially helpful against bosses. That appears to be especially useful against the bosses. I haven't had any great trouble. In my very first playthrough, I made it through to the, I think the 5th level of the game before I stopped because of the time, and then I saw that the recording didn't take. So, now what is worth noting is on the store page, they mentioned that the game has different runs. Like, you'll get different stuff each run. There's so many items in the game, you'll never see all of it in one run. This guy doesn't have anything I can buy. So, it's worth noting that, and it's worth playing this game multiple times. Just so you have a chance to see everything. What I have noticed is that the items in this game don't seem to be as diverse as something like Risk of Rain, or Cavern Kings, or Nuclear Throne. So, I'm a little bit concerned about the longevity of the game. I'm concerned that the game won't have the lasting power of something like Risk of Rain or Nuclear Throne, just because the items and the builds don't seem to be as diverse. The talents that you can pick here, they just seem weaker. Increased damage, damage increased, more damage, regenerate mana, and whenever you take damage, you regenerate mana. You know, it's the items, you know, health, mana, a little bit of damage reduction, things just seem a little underwhelming. The items that you can get, the different skill builds, the potential to do things different from run to run, I think it's less than some of the other games that might be in this genre, like those that we mentioned. For the most part now, this weapon is the first thing I've seen that really kind of bucks that, is this weapon seems vastly different. But so the ability to do things differently between one run and the next seems reduced. And I'm a little bit concerned about the longevity of the game. How many times you'll be able to play it before runs start seeming the same. You know, Risk of Rain, there's so many different things, and they can completely change the way your character plays. And your strategy. For instance, you know, you might get that item that lets you get more max health every time you kill an enemy. And so you might try to farm enemies up at the end of the game, because you could do that at the end of each level, or if you get powerful enough, you know, you might do everything you can to spawn as many enemies as you can, and you might center around a strategy of just having this massive health pool, or maybe you decide to get something that lets you shoot rockets out of your back. You know, it might completely change the way that you play. Gru, I don't know what this guy is. I guess we focus on continuing to move with him. Now, I have seen them get new attacks as time goes on, so we'll see how I fare against this. No, he got me there. That guy was not that hard at all. Got some more items. Let's see what we got. We got an increased chance for magic items. It's interesting that you have a magic item for increasing the chance of magic items. We also leveled up. But I think that's where we're going to call it here, folks. Now, what do you think? Okay, my overall thoughts with Raisinroth are a little bit conflicted. On the one hand, I had a lot of fun playing it. I had a good time. I'm a little bit more concerned in the longevity of the game, because I don't have a good feel for what the range of items you can get is. It seems like there are some items in there that can completely change the way the game plays. That laser gun just completely changed the way I played the game. Having that extra range, and I think it was faster, and it just completely changed it. That hammer I got was fantastic. I didn't realize it at the time, but it was really, really nice. And from what I understand, you're going to get different items every game. I mean, there's a large number of items. But what was concerning was a lot of the items were just plus 20 health, plus 5% magic find. In my first game through or playthrough that I didn't make it onto camera, I did encounter some minions. I got a ghost that would follow me around and slow enemies down, and I got a brain thing that would summon a meteor down, but he never hit anybody, I don't think, in the entire time I was playing the game. But I didn't get all that many items that completely changed how I played. And that may be something that, as you play the game, more items unlock. Because there was clearly unlocking in the game. There's other characters you can unlock. There's ways you can upgrade that house so that you get more buffs and you can make it further through the game. And so that probably persists and might allow you to tackle the harder difficulties. And maybe on the harder difficulties you get more items, maybe you get better items. I don't know. But I was concerned that in my playthroughs with the game, the gameplay largely stayed the same. It might have gotten a little bit harder as I went along, but I didn't see lots of different enemy attack patterns. I didn't see lots of items that would allow me to change my playstyle, or lots of abilities that would be in wildly divergent paths. Everything seemed to be just, when X happens, do more damage. And that's good. It allows you to specialize, but I was concerned because if I play that game 10 times, how much new content am I going to be seeing on the 11th time? And that's what these roguelites are built around. But the actual gameplay that I did play was perfectly fun. Didn't encounter any major bugs. I enjoyed my time with it. I thought it was fun. I just had a little bit of concerns about how much you're going to be able to play this before you start feeling like you're playing the same game. Yes, the environments were randomized, but you didn't have environmental puzzles. You had just a few traps and some enemies, and that they were laid out different each time. But again, that's one of those elements that where it's like you can make that deeper. You can add content there that makes the game feel more and more different. That's something that Risk of Rain did badly, I feel like. I mean, yeah, there were a few shrines around, but make these levels more interesting. Make it so that each time I go through, I'm not just expecting to walk into a room with a few monsters and maybe there's a trap I can trip. Now, on the bosses, I feel like they did a fantastic job. I feel like the ones we showed in this video weren't as good as the ones I saw in the first run through. I ran across this swamp monster that would put out these poison gas clouds, and you had to blow them up. But if you got caught in it, you would slow down, and he'd be able to hit you. And I had another guy that would create this fire everywhere, and I felt like the bosses were kind of more of what the gameplay was aimed at. I felt like the main game was just like getting you ready to be able to take on the bosses, and those bosses were where it was like, wow. All right, so now we have to come to the hard part. Which game walks out of this going on to the quarterly finals? Okay, so the nice things about the good things that we're going for Outland were it was very, very polished. I definitely liked the art style and the movement. It all felt very polished, and that's the best description I can give. And you may not have seen that from my rather poor gameplay, but I felt like the gameplay was so well polished, and we got to see some of the Metroidvania aspects. We got to see unlocking new skills. We got to see some of the color switching mechanics. I was really happy about that we got to, because while we didn't get there on our main character, we did spend that one period where we could swap between one color and the next and see where the game was going. I'm sure it got harder than that, but we could see where the game was going, and we got to see that beyond that first initial gameplay, once you got to that color switching mechanics, there was a very thinking man exercise in that, because you needed to think of the same color as the incoming projectiles to not take damage, but if you want to do damage, then you need to be the opposite color. And switching between those as obstacles came toward you, and being able to deal with the enemies in the level, that seemed like that was something that they could expand on, and it would be that thinky platformer. And that's really kind of interesting, because usually when you have these platformers plus, where they have some cool mechanic, maybe it's time manipulation, or maybe it is clones or something like that. Usually they go one of two paths. It's either action or it's puzzle. And this game, I felt like it was both. The combat was the puzzle. Or not necessarily the combat, but the platforming and the combat. And I can see where that would go, where you're going to have to be, okay, what color do I need to be? It's very engaging, because you're constantly making these decisions. And again, in the early game, they kind of lead you up to that. But I have a feeling we weren't that far from unlocking the second color, and we'd start to see that ramp up. If it doesn't do that, that's a shame, because that's the potential that is there. But this game is very well reviewed, so I'm fairly confident that it gets there, where it's that kind of intense, engaging platformer experience. And the story was moderately good. I mean, it was kind of a little, oh, you're the reincarnation of the hero, you have to save the world again, defeat some bosses along the way that were put as guardians, yay. So we've seen that before. But it was still interesting all in all. Raisinroth is made by a much smaller team, and there's definitely some things there to like. I definitely liked the very clean combat. I am not a fan of the bullet hell shooters. I'm not a fan of that, where you have to find that like one pixel on screen where you can stand safely. Here it was very positional based. You had to dodge shots, and but you could work around your opponents, and if you were good at it, then you could ensure that you didn't get surrounded, you didn't get in crossfire, and things like that. I also liked the finding the different equipment. That's something that makes that roguelike so much fun is each run is going to be different. And this game seemed like suffered less from the fatal run idea, where, especially in something like Risk of Rain, you take too long, you don't find the right items, you just lose. Or Nuclear Throne, maybe if you don't get the upgrades that you want and you just lose. Or you run out of ammo or something like that, where the drops they kill you because you don't get what you need. In this game, it didn't seem like that was happening. I didn't identify anything that was like, oh, I must get that and I must get it by this point, or I'm just going to have this hard time. I know you only saw one run through of the game, and even then I only got through 2 levels, but in what I played, I never had that feeling like, oh, I just got royally ruined that run by what drops happened. No, that didn't happen. And I feel like that was good. And I feel like on the harder difficulties, that's especially going to be rewarding because it seems like you always have a chance. It's up to your gameplay to make that difference. Things I didn't like as much, there were only 4 active abilities. There was your main weapon, there was your spell, there was a potion, and there was a spellbook. Now, to alleviate that there were some perks you could take, such as you'd have an extremely high chance of not actually using your potion. Like, you'd use it, but you wouldn't lose it. I guess that's the way to say it. And that's good. I like that. There's different ways you can go with that. But there were only 4 abilities, and in well over an hour of playing, I only found 1 different weapon. That concerns me. It was a cool weapon that I found, but in an hour of playing, I just had that basic starter spell blast. And for a game that's built around combat, the ability to choose which weapon you want to have, the ability to take different weapons, the ability to have a different experience, if you every time you start and you might find different weapons and all, that's important. I feel like that's very important, and I'm not sure whether I just had a very unlucky run my first time, that I didn't find a different spell and I didn't find a different primary attack. But even at the end of the first run, I went, that's a major criticism I have of this game. So both of these games are very good. I would honestly say if you are interested in either one of these games, either one of these genres, these are good games to get. Outland is very well polished. I really like the visual style. It's that high contrast, only shows the information it needs to. It doesn't clutter it up with a lot of needless detail. It's very clean, and the gameplay is slick. It's got a decent story. I enjoyed my time with it. Raisin-Roth, again, it was fun. I do have a few more reservations about it, and that's why I have to give this week's win to Outland. Outland just is polished, and that's the only criticism I can really find in Outland was, we've had a lot of other games in this genre, but for 99 cents, I just don't feel like that's a valid criticism. Maybe you don't have those games. Maybe you aren't tired of them. For 99 cents, that was one heck of a buy. Now, I still recommend Raisin-Roth. I think you guys at Init Vare have done a very good job. I want to see that game develop more. I just feel like it's not quite at the polish level that Outland is at, and both games felt fresh to me. So, keep it up, Init Vare. I wish I could include you in the finals this time. I hope to see you guys again once you update the game. I'd love to take another look at it. But this week's win goes to Outland. Congratulations, House Marquee Games. And hope to see more from you guys releasing for PC. Stay away from those consoles, guys.